Hello and welcome. You are watching News 9 Live. I am Krishnakumar and tonight we are asking the big question. Is it time to cancel NEET? Since day one, we here at News 9 Live have been on top of all the developments when it comes to the NEET to UG 2024 controversy or controversies that have erupted this year. The controversies don't seem to be dying down anytime soon. But if you thought it's just NEET exam that is under the scanner at this point, there's more. On the 19th of June, that's yesterday, the Union Education Ministry announced the cancellation of the UGC-NET or the University Grants Commission National Eligibility Test 2024 examination following indications that the integrity of the exam has been compromised. Remember, on the 18th of June, the UGC-NET exam was conducted in various cities across the country, but on the suspicion of a paper leak, that exam now stands scrapped. On its Twitter handle, the Ministry of Education of India posted that it has decided to cancel the exam based on inputs from the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. Under the Ministry of Home Affairs, prima facie indications are that the integrity of the exam has been compromised. It also wrote that a fresh exam will be conducted and the matter has now been handed over to the Central Bureau of Investigation or CBI for a thorough investigation. Coming back to the NEET 2024 results issue that we have been tracking here since day one. Anurag Yadav, one of the accused in the NEET exam paper leak case, has in a statement to the police admitted that he was given the paper and was asked to learn the answer key. Anurag said that his uncle Sikandar Yadav was the one who had informed him to come from Kota as he had arranged for the question paper. Anurag had stayed at a government guest house in Patna on the recommendation of a minister. He told the police that the questions in the NEET exam were the same as in the paper that was provided to him at the guest house. Other accused in the case, Amit and Nitish, have also confessed to the police about the leak of the NEET question paper ahead of the exam. As far as politics is concerned, Bihar's Deputy Chief Minister Vijay Sinha has accused Tejasvi Yadav of the RJD of involvement in the NEET paper leak, detailing calls made by Tejasvi's secretary to book accommodations in Patna for the mastermind of the paper leak, Sikandar Yadavendu. Sinha, who's also the Minister of Road Construction, has ordered an inquiry into the booking of the guest house where the accused had gathered.
बिहार के उप मुख्यमंत्री विजय सिन्हा को प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस बुलानी पड़ी, सारे कागजात सामने रखने पड़े, 3 अधिकारियों कर्मचारियों को निलंबित करना पड़ा। टीवी 9 भारतवर्ष ने ही सबसे पहले ये खुलासा किया था कि बिहार के इस बड़े सरकारी गेस्ट हाउस का कनेक्शन नीट पेपर लीक मामले के किंग पिन सिकंदर यादव से है। सिकंदर यादव से ना सिर्फ यहाँ का कनेक्शन है, बल्कि सिकंदर यादव का कनेक्शन एक बड़े मंत्री तक है। और उस मंत्री को लेकर कौन है वो मंत्री, ये खुलासा आज बिहार के उप मुख्यमंत्री विजय सिन्हा ने किया कि दरअसल ये जो गेस्ट हाउस है, यहाँ पर किसका सिफारिशी पत्र लेकर सिकंदर यादव पहुँचा था और सिकंदर यादव का अभ्यर्थी जो अनुराग यादव है, 3 अन्य अभ्यर्थियों के साथ ना सिर्फ यहाँ पहुँचा था, बल्कि उसके लिए कमरे की व्यवस्था यहाँ पर की गई थी और उसके लिए पैरवी किया था बिहार के तत्कालीन उप मुख्यमंत्री और वर्तमान नेता प्रतिपक्ष तेजस्वी यादव के पीएस प्रीतम यादव ने। ये खुलासा करना पड़ा उप मुख्यमंत्री को। लेकिन टीवी 9 भारतवर्ष ने ना सिर्फ इस गेस्ट हाउस में पहुंचकर ये खुलासा किया था कि नीट परीक्षा के अभ्यर्थी यहाँ पर रुके थे और यहीं पर उन्हें क्वेश्चन पेपर मुहैया कराया गया, आंसर शीट मुहैया कराया गया और यहीं पर बैठकर उन्होंने प्रश्न और उसके उत्तर को रटवाया गया था। सिकंदर यादव का कनेक्शन तेजस्वी यादव और उसके पीएस प्रीतम यादव के साथ क्या है, ये सवाल लगातार हम खड़े किए थे। टीवी 9 भारतवर्ष के हाथ ही वो रजिस्टर भी लगा था, जिस रजिस्टर में ना सिर्फ अनुराग यादव की एंट्री हुई थी, बल्कि वहाँ पर मंत्री जी भी लिखा हुआ था। और टीवी 9 भारतवर्ष ने ही ये सवाल खड़ा किया था कि आखिर वो मंत्री जी कौन हैं जिन्होंने लेटर संख्या 440 लिखा है।
Meanwhile, while hearing fresh petitions seeking the cancellation of NEET UG 2024, the Supreme Court of India has refused to put a stay on the counselling process. The court stated that if the counselling process continues till the final hearing, then the process will not be stopped. The Supreme Court has also put a stay on the proceedings on petitions regarding alleged paper leaks, which are filed in Rajasthan, Calcutta and Bombay High Courts. Is it time to cancel NEET 2024 altogether? That's the big question we're asking tonight. And I have with me my colleague Karthik Malhotra also joining me in the studio. Karthik, let's begin with the basics over here. It began with a complete denial by the National Testing Agency that there's no chance of any paper leak, and now, with every single passing day, evidence after evidence emerging that there has clearly been a case of paper leak.
Krishna, I think it is about time that NTA comes out in the open and admits that there has been obviously some slip up on the NTA's front. So many piles of evidence, all piling up one on top of another, suggesting that a paper leak, there is a higher chance of the paper having leaked than paper not being leaked. Why would somebody who's been accused of cheating admit to receiving a question paper, the exact question paper which finally came at the NEET exam a full 1 month before the exam was conducted? Obviously, somebody had access to those papers, and how can anybody outside of the NTA have access to question papers? So if there is any possibility, even a small probability of the paper having been leaked, the NTA has taken the right decision by cancelling the UGC-NET. Why not take the same call and cancel the NEET UG 2024?
Exactly that question. If the UGC-NET can be cancelled, why not NEET 2024? Dr. Dheeraj Kaul, clinical researcher and medical education expert, now joins us live from the United States of America. Dr. Dheeraj Kaul, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on News 9 Live. Look at the controversies surrounding NEET 2024, and with every single passing day, we realize the fact that the NEET exam has been embroiled in similar controversies over the past few years as well, except this time around, the final results that came, which saw it throw up 67 perfect scores of 720 upon 720. And the number of toppers between the marks of 620 and 720 almost quadrupling. You know, there was a given chance there that there is something wrong with it. Now you have students accused of cheating admitting to it. If the UGC-NET can be cancelled, why not NEET?
Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for raising such an important concern. See, I'm an educationer for last 12 plus year, and I'm a transplant nephrologist physician. I'm also involved in clinical data research. So data is very close to me, and it speaks the truth. So, I kind of did my high school in India till 18, and then I moved to overseas, but I am aware of what the medical entrance system is. It's one of the most inefficient system ever existed. The fact that 24 lakh people are sitting in the exam shows you a fundamental problem. It's practically impossible to conduct such a huge exam pan-India without having any glitches, which is paper-based. Like, I can give you a very comparative analysis because I'm more into solutions, but you are absolutely right. It smells very fishy. There are too many coincidences going on, and everybody has pointed, why was the exam window opened up, for example? How did the scores of 620 to 720, which is basically designated to get people into medical schools without any, almost without any fees, free spots, it rose from 13,000 to 50 some thousand. So 40,000 of delta to go up in 1 year is unheard of in any exam, standardized exam conducted anywhere, unless drastic changes is made it and exam is simplified to an extent. And then the government has to give those explanation to the students. So there is a problem in the exam conduction that is there, but there is a bigger systemic problem. And for example, I will tell you, 24 lakh people are sitting to take the exam. Out of that, 56,000 spots are for the free. Out of those 56,000, around 28,000 are free of cost, as in almost free. So for general category, it's 28,000. But if you dissect it further, I was in India a few years ago. I went to one of the coaching institutions to give a guest lecture, and I was amazed to know that people are spending 5 to 6 years starting from high school to prepare it and give it right after high school, and then they go to some colleges, which I don't know how they get degree, but they keep doing that for 3 more years and take the exam and again and again. So if you dissect that number further down from 26,000 to first time exam test taker after high school, it will come to even much lower than 26,000. I won't be amazed if it is 10,000 out of 24 lakh. That is less than 1% of pass success rate. So people don't have a plan B, what to do if you don't get through. So that's one problem. The other problem is such exams, like why it is conducted once a year. For example, we have a similar system in US, it's called MCAT. So you have to finish college and then you have to take an exam. But that one exam is one component of the entire puzzle. I have been to many medical admission committees where we select students here and even in Caribbean schools. So there is one component of your admission criteria is an exam. The other one is how much research you have done. Third one is what is your social work background? What have you done for the society? Fourth one is what is your overall grades from the high school? Because we do not want a good test taker. We want a whole picture. You see, no studies have shown, and I've been in healthcare for 20 plus years. I can I can testify to this. And you ask any expert in healthcare education and clinical combo, they will tell you it does not determine how good of a physician you would be, your score rates. That has nothing to do with your success overall. It is one of the parameters. When you put all the emphasis on a grade like that, it builds up so much pressure in the society for the kid to perform. It can lead to various mental disorders and systems like this when there is a lot of motivation for people to do cheating and leak the system. So one problem definitely which is very out there, why is this exam conducted once a year? Could it be done like the way MCAT is done, which is 23 times a year, almost few times a month? You can pick when you're ready and you can go and take it in an exam center, which is computerized digital, and you get your report within 4 weeks. And the other thing is there is a big gap if you dissect it further. If you want to do well in high school versus if you want to perform well in entrance exam, their curriculums are pretty much different. So why don't you bridge them together so that the stress is taken out from the student? That's
Right.
another thing which somebody needs to look into, the NEET revamping. And third thing is, I'm in career counseling also in healthcare. I can guarantee you there are so many professions in healthcare, like biomedical engineering. I'm attached with AI, writers, data mining in healthcare, which make way more money than physicians and much shorter span if you have interest. So just to be a doctor or a dentist, there are way other options. There are many more options which can make you a very successful person in healthcare,
Right.
including admin. So there are so many. This is a systemic problem. It's not going to get resolved overnight. But I guarantee, I totally agree with you. Immediately, this exam should be scrapped and a re-NEET should be done. And I think people should be very sensitive before making statements,
Absolutely.
because there is so much pressure on students who go through this tremendous preparation. I personally have taken more than 25 huge
Right.
competitive exams. I teach medical entrance examinations to students who come from India after doing MD. There's a lot of hard work involved. So before giving clean
And
chit
now
to any agency,
all that hard work has gone down the drain for all those 24 lakh students who took up the exam for NEET 2024. Dheeraj called, stay with us. We also have Mr. Samir Khan, Managing Director, NEIT NEET Coaching Institute, joining us from Kota. Samir Khan, we have Dr. Dheeraj Kaul talking about how you need to revamp the entire medical entrance system in this country in the first place. But to start with, we need to cancel NEET 2024 immediately. NEET को अभी के अभी कैंसिल कर देना चाहिए, है कि नहीं?
जी बिल्कुल, मेरा भी यही राय है कि नीट को फिलहाल तो अभी के अभी कैंसिल कर देना चाहिए, क्योंकि मेरा मानना ये है कि नीट इंडिया में सबसे बड़े एग्जाम्स में से एक है और कहीं ना कहीं ये लाखों बच्चों का भविष्य तय करता है। साथ में बच्चों के साथ साथ हमारी जो सोसाइटी है, जो आज हम जिस चीज के लिए हॉस्पिटल जाते हैं, जहाँ हमारा इलाज होता है, वहां पर हमें बेहतर चीजों की हमेशा संभावनाएं रहती है। और अगर इस तरीके से मेडिकल के फील्ड में इस तरीके से जो धांधली अगर की जाएगी, जहाँ पर नीट के पेपर लीक किए जा रहे हैं, जहाँ पर चीजें चीटिंग के तौर पे कराई जा रही है, तो ऑब्वियसली हम एक टैलेंटेड और डिजर्विंग कैंडिडेट को यहाँ पे उम्मीद नहीं कर सकते।
और ये
इससे
पहली बार
हमारे
नहीं हो रही है
हेल्थ
समीर खान जी,
स्वास्थ्य,
है कि नहीं?
जी
नीट
बिल्कुल,
घोटाला जो है
हमने
हर साल होते हुए आया है, बस इस साल काफी बड़ा हो चुका है।
जी बिल्कुल, हमने काफी सारे पेपर लीक के मामले अभी पिछले कुछ सालों में देखे हैं और मेरा मानना ये है कि जो नीट है ये एक मेडिकल है। यहाँ पर हम कोई भी चीजें कोताही जो है नहीं बरत सकते। यहाँ पर काफी ज्यादा जिम्मेदारी से हमें आगे कदम उठाना चाहिए और रीनीट को दोबारा यहाँ पे कंडक्ट कराना चाहिए,
बिल्कुल,
ताकि हमें हमें वो कैंडिडेट्स मिल पाए जिनकी दरकार हमारी सोसाइटी को होती है।
Right. Stay with us, Samir Khan and Dr. Dheeraj Kaul. Karthik, before we get to cancelling NEET, there's another problem. For those grace marks that were avoided, that were awarded and they were taken back, for those 1,563 candidates, there is supposed to be a re-exam conducted on the 23rd of June, for which results are supposed to be announced on the 30th of June, and then the counselling process begins on the 7th of July. What happens to that exam, Karthik?
So, multiple problems, Krishna. Look at the whole timeline. And look at the timeline from today. So today, for example, the Supreme Court has said that it is not going to stay the 23rd June examination, the retest on those 1563 students. Now, this test happens this coming Sunday, 23rd of June. After that, you have the counseling session on the 6th of July, and then the Supreme Court is going to actually hear the whole matter which has been collated from all the district courts and high courts in the country on the 8th of July. Now, these students, 1563 of them, if the NEET examination is not cancelled for all and if there is no re-NEET announced until Sunday, these 1563 students end up appearing for a re-NEET number 1. And then if there is a decision much later that there is a re-NEET for all, these 1563 students then appear for that universal re-NEET as well. But I think, in addition to that, Dr. Kaul raised some very valid points. What you're going to do at the end of the day is that anybody who sits for this one exam and happens to clear and get a seat in any of the medical colleges in India will eventually end up becoming a doctor if he or she continues to pass all the tests in between. It's a high responsibility job. So we've got to have multiple other levels of screening and ascertaining whether a student who has cleared one exam is actually good enough to become a doctor or not. It's difficult to assess somebody who's at a tender age of 17, 18 years to really figure out whether he or she has the aptitude, leave alone the skill or education to become a doctor. But there have to be far more number of checks and balances in place. So a collective score of how the student has been, how diligent and what the performance of the student has been throughout his or her schooling, plus the score that the person has achieved at NEET, and thereby if you're just looking at 50,000 odd seats to the top colleges in the country, one more level of assessment where you really understand by a physical interaction with the student on whether that student is really what the marks of the students have been or not needs to be ascertained. And if that is not done, we are taking a huge gamble on the lives of multiple patients to be by putting people in very, very responsible positions on the basis of just one test called NEET. So it definitely requires a complete overhaul of not just NTA, yes NTA, but the way we look at examinations as a whole in this country.
Dr. Dheeraj Kaul, that is fundamentally the issue that has come up in between all of the other issues when it comes to the NEET exam per se. A more holistic assessment of a candidate is what is required to actually figure out the best possible doctors for a country of 1.4 billion people that we're talking about over here. But before we progress to that stage where we can talk about an entire overhaul of the medical entrance process, look at the way the situation is right now. Time is running out. There is supposed to be a retest for those who have been given grace marks and then taken back. And that's about 48 hours from now, 48 to 72 hours from now. These students will have to take a retest one, and then if eventually the NEET is cancelled, they will take 2 retests, as Karthik was talking about it. The other problem I'm having is that how and when to conduct a re-NEET, because even the other students, you can't tell them that, okay, we'll have a re-NEET in a week's time from now. That's not going to be easy either. So they need to be given ample time. If there's going to be a re-NEET, they need to be given ample time. I don't know, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months before that eventual retest is conducted.
See, I would like to touch 2 points. So one point, you're talking about immediate problem and solution. We had a similar situation during COVID when people could not go for exams. See, the problem is not only conducting exam and results, it's about absorbing them in the hospital system, absorbing them in medical school. So the government has to work with medical school to maybe push off the start date if it is needed. It's unprecedented time, unprecedented solutions are needed. I believe even if 1 or 2 students feel it's cheated and the proof is there, then this needs to be scrapped and redone. The question is whether students will have trust on the NT authority to reconduct it, or it has to be done by another authority. So that's an immediate problem which can be resolved. And I really think every problem should not be decided by judiciary. I think somebody from ministry or I believe it's under HRD ministry or education ministry, the secretary of education or the education minister, somebody should come and give a solution to students. These are very very vulnerable times for them. My heart goes towards students. It does not matter what you have scored. The entire process is very stressful. Look at the psychosocial environment around it. And not to talk about people coming from a lower social economical status, financially challenged families, 2 to 3 lakh rupees for coaching institutions going on for years is a trauma in itself. So coming back to another point which I want to touch about systemic solutions, like your panelist said, before. Yes, the screening has to be changed. And I want to tell students, guys, this is the first step. This is the first step towards the journey of being a physician. I'm personally a transplant nephrologist, geriatrician, and pain. I've done like 4 subspecialty. I'm into academia, and I'm telling you, this is the first step of struggle. I know things didn't work the way, but at this point, you need to cheer up, continue your education, continue to study. Life doesn't end with this. Another thing is, I would always encourage students to have a plan B. Always. There is no shame in having a plan B. There are amazing opportunities in India and globally. You're a global student. The other thing is, I think when you screen students with this NEET exam, the structure of the NEET has to be looked into. Trust me, I've been in this industry for 20 plus years. I don't need to know how semiconductors work. I really don't need to know detailed physics. I don't need to know inorganic physics, chemistry to a detail. I don't need to know biology of botany of certain plants, how they function if I want to be a physician. So the what are you testing in the NEET has to be correlated to what will be useful for a medical doctor, a dentist, something like that. So it needs to be restructured so that the stress is taken off from the student. And I really strongly urge this system of making a 2 separate system. Either you study for CBSE for high school or you study for exam. This needs to merge so that students don't have to go to 2 parallel schools and
Right.
miss their school, miss their college and study. This is a very big systemic problem, because do remember, in 10 years, these students, we have an MD degree, they will come out, they will treat you. If you don't have an effective doctor, primary care, the healthcare infra, and I've worked in the COVID story very closely with India and over here, the
Right.
healthcare infra can collapse. And India is the world's capital in diabetes. I'm telling you, the diseases are growing like anything. You need smart students. When I say smart, I don't mean excellent test takers. That has nothing to do with being a good physician. There are different criteria you should screen. You need to give solutions to these students so that all these mental issues of anxiety, depression, even I am
Absolutely,
hearing
Dr. Neeraj
suicide
Kaul.
goes down.
Hearing you loud and clear on that. I'm going to take this quickly across to Samir Khan, MD NEIT of NEET Coaching Institute. समीर खान जी, ये प्रॉब्लम इस साल जो निकल आया है, आगे जाते हुए आपके मायने में क्या करना चाहिए?
सिर्फ ये बहुत बड़ी लापरवाही तो है। हमारा मानना ये है कि कहीं ना कहीं आगे चल के जो एक एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर और जो हेल्थ मिनिस्टर की अगर हम बात करें, तो इन लोगों को मेनली इस चीज के लिए स्ट्रिक्ट होना पड़ेगा। क्योंकि अगर इस तरीके से नीट के जो बड़े एग्जाम, जैसे अगर पेपर लीक की बात अगर आती है, तो कहीं ना कहीं ये बच्चों के भविष्य के साथ साथ, मैंने इससे पहले भी कहा कि ये हमारे सोसाइटी के लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है। क्योंकि हमें अगर इस चीज को आगे रोका नहीं जाएगा, तो ये बिल्कुल तौर पे, मानसिक तौर पे हमारे आने वाले जनरेशन को भी इम्पैक्ट करेगा कि आज हम उन डॉक्टर से इलाज कराने जा रहे हैं जिनके पास में कोई क्वालिफिकेशन, कोई क्वालिटी नहीं है। कहीं ना कहीं ये बहुत बड़ी समस्या हमारे समाज के लिए बन के उभर के आएगी। और आज इस चीज को अगर आज हम कंट्रोल में नहीं लाते हैं, तो ये आगे भी इसी तरीके से चलती हुई नजर आएगी। इसलिए हमें एक स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन इसी नतीजे पे, इसी एग्जाम्स पे, इसी साल ही हमें लेना बहुत आवश्यक है।
अगले साल नीट कंडक्ट करने का कोई मतलब है?
जी सर, अगर इस तरीके से नीट का एग्जाम लिया जाए, जहाँ पर लाखों बच्चे एग्जाम दे रहे हैं और पेपर लीक की अगर बात आ रही है, तो कहीं ना कहीं उन लाखों बच्चों और पेरेंट्स के साथ में ये चीजें सही नहीं है। साथ में अगर नीट एनटीए अगर सही तरीके से इस चीज को कंडक्ट अगर नहीं करा पा रहा है, तो बिल्कुल इस चीज से उसे हटना चाहिए और बिल्कुल किसी और के हाथ में इस एग्जाम्स को देना चाहिए, जहाँ पे पूरी जिम्मेदारी के तहत इस एग्जाम्स को कंडक्ट कराया जाए।
राइट। Samir Khan, MD, NEIT of NEET Coaching Institute, Kota. Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Neeraj Kaul, clinical researcher and medical education expert. Thank you so much for being with us, joining us live from the United States of America and giving us a perspective. We're also running a poll here on News 9 Live. Just like the UGC-NET got cancelled, is it time to cancel NEET all over again? Should NEET 2024 exam also be cancelled? News 9 Live poll, 76% say yes, NEET 2024 exam should be cancelled. Make sure you log on and you post your response to that survey as well. Overwhelming majority there saying that yes, NEET 2024 should be cancelled. And with that, we've completely run out of time over here. I'm going to thank my colleague Karthik Malhotra for taking time out to be with us in the studio as well. And with that, it's a wrap here from my side. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishnakumar signing off.